On May 6, 2025, New York Governor Kathy Hochul signed a bill into law banning the use of cell phones by students in kindergarten through 12th grade in school from bell to bell. I do believe that students will still be allowed to take their cell phones to school, but they will not be allowed to access the cell phones during school, meaning that the school will likely have to find some way to be legally responsible for the cell phone so that the students don't have it. Students will, of course, find a way to get around this, as they always do. I am not sure how I feel about this, because there's a couple of things that can happen with this. First off, the students in low-income districts that don't necessarily have the the things of technology that a higher income district would have may use cell phones for what those do. And if the school can't afford a Chromebook, they can't afford cell phones for the entire student body, especially because those have to be replaced more frequently. So that makes it an equity issue. The second issue is that while New York is relatively free of school shootings, they do still happen. So I can see a lot of parents being like, hey, no, we would like to have our students be able to contact us in the event of an emergency and things of that nature. Now, in favor of this is that students being on cell phones and doing things that are not classwork is not good for education for that student or anyone else. You need to be in class doing your classwork in order to actually get an education. I know that there have been classes where I've been distracted by things other than what I do to accommodate my ADHD, which is usually just drawing a picture or something. But when I've been distracted by other things, it's been bad and I've done worse. And this has been grade school, high school, college, even grad school. If I'm distracted, I probably will do worse or retain less information or need extra support in some way by like going to office hours or something. In favor of this is also a lot of teachers who do not wish to just deal with the cell phone situation. Students could be taught to use it responsibly, which is a thing, but that's not necessarily something that every teacher is capable of or wants to do. So the teachers may be in favor of this because they do not wish to do that, which is totally fine. If you don't want to teach your students how to properly use a tool, don't use the tool in the classroom. If a teacher doesn't want to use AI and teach them how to use it, don't use it. My personal opinion on AI is that not only does it have no place in schools, it has no place in the in society. Now, another thing against this, and I hate to give any credence to angry cops, but there is the possibility that what he said is true, and it's being investigated. Because obviously we know that angry cops has had issues in the past. But in this case, where he said that there were issues with the Buffalo schools covering up things like abuse, we do know that at least one of them is a potential cover-up of abuse, because there's no video footage from the school, but there is cell phone footage from another student. So I would want there to be cell phone footage of an incident from a student if something like that happens. I think it's super important for there to be some type of situation where you can actually have the footage. I do think that cameras in classrooms are a thing that are here to stay, unfortunately, because unfortunately, yes, people are litigious in this modern era, and also we do want to make sure that students are safe. And that does include, for example, when I was in 7th grade, a kid broke his knee in gym class. And the only way to describe what happened to him was students who were just traumatized by what happened telling the EMTs who showed up, or the teacher telling the EMTs who just showed up. If we had cameras or cell phones to film it, then we may have actually been able to go ahead and give that to the EMTs. Now, he was okay. He had to get some surgery and everything, and it was okay, but it kind of sucked. If I go to the doctor and I've had an injury of some kind, and I have video of how it happened, they can be like, oh, well, what you're describing is this, but also this, so we should look at both. And that's a thing. But overall, I think this is going to be something that is that is done with good intentions that is going to end up, unfortunately, backfiring because teachers aren't actually going to know what to do about the cell phone situation. Teachers are going to either just be very, very much strict disciplinarians about the cell phone situation, or they won't care. Now, the other issue that I think federal law currently does cover, but who knows what will happen with the current Secretary of Education, is that students who have medically necessary devices that are tied to cell phones, like a continuous glucose monitor with an insulin injector, or pacemaker even, or something that's medically required, will simply need to get a doctor's note, which they already had to do that because the doctor's note proved that they were allowed to take the medication. I don't know if you remember when you were in grade school, you couldn't take a Tylenol. It was treated like the worst drugs. But yeah, so that's what they'll do. But I could see that leading to other problems in the future. So I'm hoping that everything goes well, and I hope that Kathy Hochul understands that sometimes she makes decisions rashly. But overall, I don't really have too much of an opinion on Kathy Hochul making the decision, because I know that there were some school districts in the state that were already making the decision, so by making it so that every single school district is exactly the same, it's probably a good thing overall for the state. I don't wish that on anyone, but I do know that.
And again, thank you for tuning into the videos. Don't forget that you can also see me on Patreon at Sammy5436, where it's $1 a month. I also am seeable on Instagram at Sammy5436. TikTok at Sammy5436. I'm on Blue Sky at Sammy5436, though I don't use that often. I believe I'm on Tumblr at Sammy5436, but I haven't used that in at least a year. And you can find me at my business email, thetrapezoidtalks5436 at gmail.com. Any information you need to send to those business emails will be looked at. I generally look at my business email on Wednesdays and Sundays, so just do be advised that I do not always have the ability to respond immediately, but if you do send an email to my business email, and as long as it's not offensive, I will respond if it's something I'm interested in with something positive, and if it's something I'm not interested in, I will thank you for your email and go ahead and say that there may be a future opportunity for us to collaborate if that's something you're interested in.